Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we are live now. And Rachel, that is okay. I'm not unmuted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Edu Ribeiro here. Be welcome to one more Open Studio Drum Conversation. Today, we're gonna have a real drummer, one of my favorite drummers in the world, Mr. Billy Kilson. But first, I will play some track that I have in my Open Studio course, some backing track that I have my composition Já Tô Te Esperando, one of the first composition that I did. And I have to say something to you. This program is sponsored by Open Studio. So I hope you enjoyed the music. 1 minute. Yes. And now. we played. I played Já Tô Te Esperando, a backing track that we have on Edu Ribeiro's Open Studio course. And now I want to introduce you this amazing drummer, my new friend for today. I'm happy to have him here, Mr. Billy Kilson. Please clap your hands to Billy.
Hey, dude, that was incredible, man.
Oh,
I'm
man.
clapping my hands for you. That was incredible.
Oh man, thank you.
Oh, it was so light and dancing. I could see folks dancing. I could see the whole atmosphere. That was beautiful. You captured that so well, man.
Oh man, thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
the ride, so, man. You know, I think we need to switch the screens, like I said earlier. You know, we need to switch the screen, and I need to interview you. So when you were playing on the floor times, like what inspired you to have playing the flams on the floor times like that and 6-stroke roll? How did you play those so clean? And the paradiddle diddles, how did you play those so clean?
Oh man, I love the paradiddle diddles. That is a good question. I love that, and I love to put the last note in the bass drum like that.
Yeah. Well, that's who made that famous, man. Probably Max Roach should get credit. He should, man. His great grandkids should get money from that, man. That's his thing, man.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you for being here.
Thanks
you for your
having me.
words. Oh man, and was so inspiring to me. Have you here? I have an important story about you that you changed my life, but I will take the right time to tell you for people.
Okay.
And thank you everybody for being here, listen us and talking with us today. Billy, where are you now? Where are you?
I'm in New Jersey. I'm in central New Jersey. I'm not in a undisclosed location, but I'm in central New Jersey. I won't give up my address. But yes, I'm in New Jersey. I'm about 20 miles south of Manhattan right now.
Okay, great. I'm in São Paulo. It is a big continental conversation.
Oh my goodness. One of my favorite cities, man. My gosh, man.
Oh man, you have to back here all the time.
Absolutely.
I
think the last time I was in Sao Paulo, I think I was there working with Chris Bodie. That's where I saw Ahmad Jamal. There's a festival there, and I think that's the last time I saw Ahmad Jamal. I hadn't seen him in more than 2 decades almost.
Was it with Chris Potter?
Yes, Chris Bodie. I was playing with Chris Bodie.
Chris Bodie.
Yes.
Okay. The guitar player now, you still play with him?
Oh, the guitar player. Leonardo.
Yeah. No,
I think he's from Brazil. Oh no, he's from Uruguay. I think
Uruguay is Leonardo Amoedo. He's a great friend of mine.
Is that right?
You guys play together?
Oh yes, man. I love his playing, man.
Man, he's amazing guitar
player.
And
he's a great singer too.
Yeah, and a great guy. It's so easy to
just the way he comes off. He's a beautiful cat, man. Beautiful guy.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, I took some points to talk.
Okay.
Some questions.
Good. Well, that means I can't see them, so that means I don't have to answer them. No, I'm just kidding.
So, first, you are amazing drummer. I'm completely fan of your drumming and your music, and I want to know a little. How do you start with music? How was the meaning thing that makes you a musician? That you was captured about the drums and the music. How was
and stop me if I'm not answering the question correctly. But are you talking about what was my first interest, or why did I choose to play drums? Or humble beginnings, I guess.
Yeah, beginnings. Why do you start to play? Why do you?
The simple short answer is I didn't choose drums. Drums chose me. I've always have been fascinated and intrigued by the sound of rhythms, of course, but I didn't have where I live. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I went to high school in Maryland, a very small town called Pomfret, Maryland. I went to high school there. And but in the interim, until I was about 16, I didn't get a drum set. So I always wanted them, like every other kid, beating on pots and pans, tearing up my mother's furniture, and seeing bands on weekends. I was allowed to see bands on weekends, but finally, later, as I said, 16, she bought me my first drum set and for my birthday, and that's probably the best birthday gift I ever gotten.
Wow, wow, wow. And you start with the drums and you move it to different instrument. Do you play some different instrument or just drums?
Well, I don't. I mean, I started out playing trombone and trumpet trombone, and that didn't go anywhere.
Wow.
So I didn't, don't do that. But I've been playing piano a little bit since I've been teaching at Berkeley. I try to play a little bit at the bass, if you will. And notice I said at the bass, just to have some sort of comprehension and be able to coherently, speak coherently rather with my students and with some thoughts and ideas how to improve their musicianship. So I understand the chordal structure. I can't figure out that whole hand finger coordination yet, but just enough to play some nice, pretty chords or something on the piano.
Great,
That's what I do.
great, great. But it is it's very good for the drummer too.
Oh my goodness, man! I mean, we have some of our most prolific drummers, great drummers, rather, like Philly Joe Jones. Even Max Roach played piano. Philly Joe played piano. He could play on the gig, actually. Jack DeJohnette
Wow.
played piano. I guess, and back in the day, supposedly a lot of those maybe pre-50s, if you will, most of those musicians could play a few instruments, like maybe three or four instruments.
Hmm.
They could dance, they could sing. I guess that got lost, after a while. But yes, it's very important because Alan Dawson, who I studied with, uh, brainwashed me in a good way and taught me to see the drums not as just this rhythmic pitched instrument, to see it
Hmm.
more as play these various melodies. They'll have a lot more of a melodic structure when I solo and play,
Hmm.
and that is a direct correlation with the piano. Though again, I said the pitch, so of course we can't play scales, if you
Yeah.
will, but I can try to lay out my melody, lay out my drums rhythms, if you will, more melodically, if you will,
Great,
instead of
great.
just rhythmically.
Great, great, great. And you thought about Alan Dawson, that he was your instructor, but um, how was your influence as a drummer? The drummers that influenced you to
What
to
other drummers influenced me besides Alan? Is that
yeah.
what you're asking?
Besides Alan, yeah.
Probably the
And
first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry about my bad English, please.
No, it's fine. Are you kidding me? I told you earlier. I'm embarrassed. I can say one word in Portuguese. Obrigado. That's it, man.
That's
You
a
know.
good word. That's the most polite one you can have.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. That's the first thing everyone learns. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
oh, drummers influenced me. I would say the first drummer. Well, I would say there's two. Two drummers that influenced me at the same time, and I'm maybe 3 or 4 years old. And that's Jabo Starks and Clive Stubblefield. They played with James Brown, and
Wow.
they were probably the very first inspiration that said, "I want to do that." I'm putting at the camera. I want to do that. Seeing them, and
Wow.
then later on, I guess I'm around 13, 14, and a friend bought me a CD with Return to Forever. It was Chick. It was Chick, Al Di Meola, Lenny White, Stanley Clark, and that's the first time I ever heard Chick play. First time I heard Stanley and Al Di Meola, but the drummer was Lenny White, and it was Romantic Warrior. And I thought, hands down, I know for sure this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Yeah, I would
Wow.
say that they were my first drum influences. Absolutely, those three men.
Wow. Wow. Great. Great. And um, about Alan Dawson and about technique, when I saw you playing, you have a very an amazing skills with technique
Mhm.
and making some talking from the kit and not so not just with the snare and pads. And how did you develop that? because
Well, first of
it's
all, I mean,
for
it's so nice of you saying amazing. And I have Alan's picture on the wall to make sure that if I think that I'm playing amazing, he's just sitting behind me like, really, man? Really? You really? You think you're. I appreciate you saying that's so nice. But
oh
um, yes, Alan Dawson was a stickler for uh, playing not just thinking rudimental, but rudiments are a drummer's vocabulary, if you will,
yes.
is the ultimate way to express yourself and whatever you're trying to say or whatever shape you're trying to create. Alan has these three formats that's very important. I would say it's like a triangle, and I tell my students this. It's like a triangle. At the very top, it's the book by George Stone called Stick Control. And
Yeah.
simply, if you can't control the sticks the way you beautifully controlled your sticks, if you can't control the sticks, you can't play the drums. I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
period. You just can't. So Alan started with that. And then you could pick a corner. One side would be rudiments, which is Alan Dawson's ritual, if you will. And Alan Dawson, it's like a medley of almost 80 some odd rudiments. And then he had this concept by Ted Reed called syncopation. And it's sort of like stick control, if you will, where you can have full control over your limbs playing the drum set. So regarding playing fills, if you will, back and forth, front, forward, reverse. I Alan was a stickler about having uniformity between the hands, so I can't play. Let's say like El Negro, I can't play like Gru with
Yeah.
my left hand and do all that kind of crazy stuff. He can do like right hand, left hand. He's like damn near
Yeah.
ambidextrous. It's
Yeah.
crazy with both, even with both feet. It's crazy, man.
Man, that's great.
It's
That's
insane,
amazing.
right?
It's insane. Is that
It's insane,
that
man.
that is
But
insane.
most rudiments, I would say, if not all the rudiments, I can lead with my left hand as well as my right. And that was Alan instilled that upon us to have, again, that full command and full control over the sticks. And it's still a work in progress, but I like to think that I'm pretty good at of really having that control and articulating what I would like to say on the kit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, you playing is so clean, is so crispy with all the notes that we can listen. That it's amazing. That is
Thank you, man.
amazing.
Thank you.
Uh, and
Obrigado.
and
Obrigado.
oh, obrigado. De nada, de nada. And talking about Alan, my son is a bass player, and
Okay.
he's teenager. He's 16.
Okay.
And
Okay.
someday he went to my little office in our apartment, and he saw the Alan Dawson books, and
Hmm.
he
Hmm.
says, I have one recording that he's playing, and put to me Alan playing with Nils Peterson and Sonny Hollins, a trio
Oh,
playing
oh man.
There Will Never Be Another You.
Oh my
Man,
gosh. Oh,
that
that's
is
incredible, man. That concert. Oh
amazing.
yes. Yes.
And he's soloing over the form is
I know.
something that
Well, that was a big thing that Alan stressed, and sometimes being brainwashed. I was brainwashed in a good way, but sometimes I run into a wall because a lot of times, like when I played with Ahmad Jamal, you just play a solo over a vamp, and at the beginning, I didn't know how to do that because Alan really was a stickler again, steadfast in saying, "Hey, you have to play over the form," so the band and the audience will have some idea to what you're trying to say or what you're trying to create and what you're playing over. You give them that framework, and that was mad important. Alan is a master of that, though, man.
oh man. and
Master.
and and did you study with him?
7.5 years.
Wow, that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
That
It would have been longer, but he kicked me out, man. He's like, man, you get out of here, man. You're asking too
you
many questions. Get out of here, man. Gotta stop asking. Still gotta stop asking questions and start playing, man. Stop talking and do. Come on, man.
yeah, yeah, come on please.
But I want
and,
more. I want more. I want more.
no, 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 go. And I have a story about you. And I was I was in I was in Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2002 or 2004. I can't
Okay.
remember
Okay.
the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with a singer in Brazil, very
Mm-hmm.
famous singer in
Mm-hmm.
Brazil that was famous in Portugal too. And we used to play in Portugal at the weekends.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it was too much traveling to go to Portugal playing at the weekends and back to Brazil to spend
Okay.
the week. And we started to spend the whole week in Portugal doing nothing,
Wow.
just at the hotel, and just to play Friday, Saturday, and Monday.
Tough
And
job. That was a tough job, man.
yeah, but I remember, but I was still I stay at the hotel with no practicing, no playing, no
Mm-hmm.
anything, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a kind of boring. And I remember that I went to see
Was this
David
in Lisbon? Was this in this was in
In
Lisbon?
Lisbon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We went to see me and the bass player went to see David Holland big band in a huge theater, beautiful theater. And
Wow.
you was the drummer, and you guys were releasing the What Goes Around.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I remember that I paid for the cheapest ticket, and I was so far away from the stage, very far. But I remember to see you playing, you're playing, and that makes me change my life. I realized
Oh my gosh, man.
at that moment I realized that I have to practice every day if I want to do that.
Oh my
It's not,
gosh,
if
man.
I want to do that, something not that, but something near from that, or something with the same subject, talking about the same thing. I have to practice every day. And when I back to São Paulo, I changed it, everything. I built a little studio to practice every day to don't pay the student the neighbors and my
Right.
family. And man,
Oh man.
I have to say thank you for that, because it makes me good things, good changing my life.
Well, I mean, I'm so humbled to hear that. But however, if I ever went back to Lisbon and see your neighbors, they go like, "So you're the guy that messed everything up here, man. We had to put up with all that noise, man. I don't know if that's good."
Yeah, man.
No,
But
that's a
it's
beautiful story. It's very nice to hear. Very kind of you to say. It's very nice to hear, man.
man, that was
But you know
so.
what? That leads me to that makes me think, and I just talked about this. Spoke about this with my students yesterday in our ensemble class at one of my Berkeley ensembles. I have four ensembles, and we were speaking about that and how Alan will have us to be so humble and our approach, because like when I that gig, if you will, Alan teaches us that the musicians and the music is first, and then us as drummers are last. And what does that mean? You care about the music if you are humbly and innocently um sitting in a place where you think about how well or how great can you promote or elevate this music? How can you raise or promote this music to the highest level? And that is my approach every time I get on the bandstand. It's almost like a reflection, like when I'm watching whether it's in that band, it could have been Robin or Steve Nelson or Chris Potter or Dave, our leader, of course. And I see them as it's like a mirror, and like I'm trying to create this reflection, and what they're giving off, I'm trying to throw it right back. And when the audience, or like yourself, who I have no idea that you're there, and we're going to meet like a couple of decades later, that hopefully that purity, and that simplicity and that honesty, that innocence that we're creating on the bandstand, where the music is at its highest level spiritually we can make it, it's going to transcend out into
Yeah.
the audience and reach someone. And just reaching one person like yourself, that's very special to me. And this is why I play drums, man.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh man. I just want to say thank you one more time for that. Yeah.
But please tell your neighbors when you go back, I'm sorry. Please tell them I'm
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
bad guy, man. Tell them I'm not a bad guy.
I don't live more in the same place. No, no, no worry. We move it. We move it. No problem. No. And we talked about Dave Holland, and that was a special, very amazing and special music.
Mm.
And how was your starting with Dave Holland with this big band and with this project?
Well, I
How
mean, the big band was an evolution of the quintet.
the
The
quintet?
quintet was the core, and the quintet was the core of that big band. And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess more like an expansion,
Mm-hmm.
expanded version of the expansive version of the quintet. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I think so I would have to say the quintet, the big band came about after the quintet was developed. That was
Okay.
maybe after, not that long, maybe about 5 or 6 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. It's getting foggy when you get close to 60. I am about 4 or 5 years. The quintet, and Dade had done many gigs prior to me joining the band. He had a quartet for a few years prior to that. So the big band was definitely developed out of the creation of the quintet.
Hmm. And was so special the experience and the music that you guys did it the odd times and the odd metric modulation that that you did that with the big band or your quintet. It's hard to do that in a duo. It's
I
difficult to that
know,
in
I
the
know,
trio,
man.
and in a
I
big
know.
band is amazing. And I suppose that the drum the drum the part of the drum is so important to keep something very clear
Oh
to
man,
everybody.
that was so hard, man.
Yeah,
Um,
how did you guys did you guys prepare that to play this very complex things?
well, again, the complexities of the rhythms that we played really stems from the core of that quintet, if you will. And
Okay.
we never really rehearsed any of that sort of stuff. That was mostly dialogue with Dave or myself on a bus or like on a tour somewhere in Europe. And Dave and I sit on the front of the bus or in the back of the bus and we're dialoguing. He would say, Bill, in this section, would you do this or check out these rhythms here? Or Steve Nelson and I would dialogue, all five of us would dialogue. Sometimes Chris Potter and myself, we would just hang
Mhm.
out and talk and like, Billy, what do we would, pick each other's brains. A lot of the music, and I do share this with my Berkeley students as well, dialogue, when you ask that question, it's not so much that we sit on the bandstand and we play this and what do you do? It's more of an introspective motivation. Like you're tapping into what another person's thinking. Everyone is kind of like in this dogma, if you will. Like we have this code, like kind of code of beliefs that okay, this when we reach this vibe here, we're going to do this. When we reach this vibe here, we're going to do this. And I think Dave brought that concept from Miles because those guys spoke a lot. They talked to each other a lot and then just went on the bandstand and played and learned mostly from trial and error. Like you play something like, well, don't do that again. let's try something else. But a lot of it's from dialogue. And a lot of now, of course, individually, if you ask what we did individually when we all went to our separate humble abodes, if you will. I come home, they go home. And now I wasn't my house here, but I would sit in my room and try to figure out, how I'm going to play, what's the best metric modulation to choose, a method to choose when I'm in this situation, and how to really practice that. Those are the things that I did individually. But as a group, we spoke quite a bit to each other. There was a lot of dialogue, man. And that
Uh-huh.
developed a lot of trust. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I tell my students as well, if you look at my resume, I have, I'm pretty proud of my resume. And there's a long list of bands, but I probably can count on one hand that there were some great bands that I played in, and Dave's band was one of the 5 bands that I played in, where the dialogue and the trust factor that we had between each other was so high. You know,
Wow.
I'll do that again. I'll do that again tonight.
Oh, great! That trust between musicians is so important,
It's bad
and
important, man.
it's so
And when
special
that's
when
gone, when that's gone, that's the music. Then the music is gone. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. Billy, we have a lot of comments here.
Oh, cool.
Let's listen some
Oh, okay.
comments and question. And Sergio Arocha says, Maestro Billy. Oh,
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
okay,
I'm good. I
okay.
got Sajo made me nervous, man. Don't do that.
And Olaf always that name is hard to me. Soderling, a great playing. Oh, and Sérgio Arocha, yes, two greats, trio corrente. Uh, Olaf always says, New Jersey, are you a friend of Juan Carlito Mendonça?
No, I don't know who was that again.
Olaf is asking
No,
you.
Juan
He,
Carlito Mendoza. I don't know who that is, and maybe, and you know, we've been stuck in this sort of stay-at-home orders. I don't get to
yeah,
go out, man. I mean,
but
forgive me, Juan. I probably do, but I don't remember, man.
but he probably lives in New Jersey too. Great.
Okay.
Maestro Billy, Sérgio Arrocha diz, Maestro Billy, any cool anecdotes of your lesson with Ala Dawson back in the days?
Wow. Besides, my goodness, man, how do I say that? Well, I guess what I get from, I guess one thing that I would have to say is understanding the importance of this drum pad, um, and how we would our lessons would be, I would say would be 50 or 50 minutes, or yeah, it would be like 50 minutes, 85, 90% on the structure and how the importance of being able to have proper technique before we play drums. I would, in what we did also, again, I guess this ties into what's my what's my role in the band. He taught me that by indirectly teaching me, like you said, well, the last 5 or 10 minutes, okay, now you can play what you want, and I'm going to play vibes. And but what I got from that, more anything, that my technique is mad important. If I can't express myself thoroughly or clearly, I shouldn't even play drums. So yeah, I would say that's probably one of the biggest things I
Wow,
took from that.
wow. And Enes Ildemir asking you, hello, Biseki, so I want to ask a question.
Hmm.
How do you develop a 32 bar AABA drum solos and not get lost while
Oh,
performing?
that is a great question. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a great question. Man, okay, and I do this with my students as well, like all of my Berkeley students, whether they're playing. I have a few piano students, bass students, one saxophone student, and then I have my drum students and ensembles. I share with them what Alan Dawson, again, could have brainwashed. He brainwashed me in a good way. Yes, it is brainwashed, but in a good way. That I'm hearing melodies all the time, and if you sing the melody, and don't embarrass me, you're gonna put me on YouTube, and now I'm not gonna sing. No, no. So, like they say, satin dial, because I know how somebody even, I've already gotten trouble from one of my. I like my drum solo, and this guy memed it, and embarrassed me. I'm like, man, why did I do that? You got to be careful what you put on YouTube. But if you have, AABA melody and satin da 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 da. So you sing that. That's the first A. Sing it again. The second A. Bridge. Repeat the repeat the repeat. Then the A section again. No matter what I'm playing, I am singing the melody constantly. Now, he had an exercise where we would have to use stick control and go through that exercise and sing the entire melody, AABA form, which is, again, satin dial is, and we would have to play the exercise while we're singing. Um, okay, you're going to force me to this. I will do this. I never do this. Let me try to see if I can play. Let me see if I can.
Oh, thank you that. Thank you for that.
Let me see. I'm not set up like you, so give me a
No
second.
problem. You are amazing.
Got to check out my book now.
Wow.
You got to check out. Tell me to get my book.
Yeah.
Satin down. How do I hit
Set
the
it.
phone? Satin down.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing, brother. Amazing. Woo!
You got me. You
Yeah.
got me. You got me. You got me.
Oh man, thank you for that. You know something? Is you play so complex, beautiful, but you can hear the melody all the time.
That's
It,
what Alan taught, and that's
wow,
what I
man.
teach my students. It's important to sing the melody, but if you sing them, it's weird. A lot of them, some students or some people don't get, they don't hear that where you think, okay, I got to sing the melody, so now I'm locked into a box. Well, in essence, that's what we did with Dave. In
Mhm.
essence, that's what I learned when I'm a Jamal. Was if I know where the melody is, and that's my framework, that's not only my guide, it's my metronome.
Yeah.
It's and that's the platform I can work from. So I'm actually free, if you
Yeah.
will. I'm
Yeah.
actually free singing the melody. And there's times where you can stretch the time. Well, that's Elvin. You can stretch the time and you can have
Yeah.
armadas in different places. But adhering to that form,
Mhm.
not only if you can share that with the band and the band feels that, again, that audience will feel that spiritual and embrace what you're attempting to say. And
Wow.
that's what I got from Alan more than anything else.
Oh man. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Amazing. Amazing. And Jesus Rodriguez says, greetings, Edu and Billy. Thanks for share. And the same Jesus says, Billy, can you talk about your experience in playing with David Holland. I think we talked about that
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
And Sergio Achoa says, Maestro Billy, any memories regarding Sensei Ralph Peterson Jr.?
Oh man, that's very difficult. This is a man. I mean, and Ralph knows this, and most people that are. Uh, yeah, it's very difficult because since COVID began, I kind of feel like I was talking to a very good friend of mine last night, and we were saying it's like a long winter, and Ralph sort of his passing has kind of like defined this last season, and which is from March when COVID began, if you will. I mean, people will argue, say it happened before, but I'm just saying the stay-at-home orders here on the East Coast and New York, and we're still here. The East Coast of the United States being in New York. So Ralph. I mean, I couldn't grieve Ralph's death properly, you know, because of the backdrop. But one thing though, and Ralph and I, not only I've known him for about 35 years, a little around 35 or more years. I met him in New York, and I just feel like it's just, we're sort of joined at the hip in a way. He We played with some of the same musicians. We both got our start almost in the same way. I'm not from New Jersey. He went to Rutgers, but he worked with Walter Davis Jr. That was my very first gig. And in the last 6 or 7 years now, sheesh, man, the last 6 or 7 years I've been teaching at Berkeley, in which I'm an alum, but he started teaching at Berkeley maybe about 10 years before I taught there, and our offices were next to each other.
Wow.
He, sheesh, man. I mean, we're the same age, but I remember moving to New York, and the first time I ever came to New York is 1985, 86, I think. And I get off the bus and I take a cab and I'm scared to death. And the guy I was going to really live with rather, was playing at the Vanguard. I didn't know who Ralph Peterson was. I didn't know he was playing this with John Faddis. And I went there and typical Ralph, I go downstairs to the Vanguard and I had my name's on the guest list, whatever, and I'm thinking, wow, this is cool. I could just walk into a club in New York. This is that cool. And there used to be folks that played at the Vanguard, and folks that went to the Vanguard know that, like, let's say this is the stage. If you will, let's say this is the stage, and that's the drum set, and there were seats here. So usually the musicians, there's like a small bench, if you will, adjacent, like perpendicular with the drums. And so that's where the musicians would sit, if they're on a break or if they're between tunes.
Yeah.
And so I go to that spot and it's open because the musicians are playing, of course. Ralph reaches over. He reaches over and he's like, hey, you play drums, right? Billy, while he's playing, man, he's like, hey, you play drums, right? You Billy Kilson, right? Man, come up here and get some of this, man. And I'm thinking, you mean play? I'm not like, where folks, I'm thinking, okay, man, I was so nervous. And I remember Ralph still teased me about that. We talked about that many times. But he played that same role, if you will, like 2 decades later when I'm at Berkeley. And I'm like, man, I have this student or I have this ensemble. He's like, man, Kilson, you know what you're supposed to do, man. Come on, man. I mean, it was the same kind of like that tough love. And nobody will replace that. And I will forever miss that, man. But I'm glad. I'm doing the best I can to not get full. But I'm glad I have those memories. Because if I don't have those memories, each day would be harder to play drums, knowing that Ralph is not walking. I can't hear his voice. Be harder, man.
Yeah, good memories, man.
Absolutely, man.
Amazing. That story is very good. Hey, Reuben Rogers, come to
Oh
play.
man, oh man,
and play.
I heard about you, man. And they're playing this tune up, man. I'm like, oh gosh, man. But I was happy. I had worked on my paradiddle diddle, and putting
Yeah.
that ritual, Alan Dawson. I was prepared.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Chris says, much love, Billy. You former student Chris from Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh wow. Hey Chris. Good to
Uh-huh.
good to see
And,
you. Good to see your remarks, man.
and Sergio Arocha says, miss you, Billy. Good memories from our lesson last year in the virtual ensemble.
Oh man, Sergio. Yes. Yes, my man.
Sergio.
I miss
And
you. I miss you
uh,
too.
and Gretchman too says, saw you at Honey's in London with Sunborn. Amazing. So animated. Love your time.
Thanks. Thanks. Oh, you know what? I think now I don't. Jeez, I don't want to jinx this because as I mentioned, we've been doing these podcasts
Hmm.
for David Sanborn, and he did mention we might go. I don't want to put it out there, but he did mention we might go back to Ronnie Scott's
Wow.
if the COVID restrictions are lifted by
Yeah.
midsummer, late summer. We'll see, but I think we're going to be at Ronnie Scott's, man. Yeah.
Oh, great. Great. Bill Shield, this is cool. Sergio Rocha says, fire on fire, nice. And all soldering says, yeah, great playing, Billy. And Marcelo Bucata says, sounds great, effortless.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Marcelo, he's a great drummer from Brazil, and he's living now. He's here in the COVID time, but now he's living in Los Angeles.
Marcel, so this time, what is we're in April, so it's almost like winter now, right? Is it is it fall? I
Here,
guess fall. And yeah, in Sao Paulo, like this
yeah, yeah,
the
we
season's it's exactly the
is
opposite. So it's late fall going into winter almost.
yeah,
I
yeah. We are
guess.
going to the winter in 2 months.
Okay.
And Chris Kurtz says, I just shared with two jazz drummers. Okay, great. Oh, great. And Ethan Burto says, this video just happened to be in my recommended. Just wanted to let you know, Mr. Kilson, that your drumming on David Honda over time is some of the best playing out there.
Oh,
I agree. I agree.
thank you, Ethan. Thank you. That's
Oh,
kind.
and Sérgio says, I saw you, Edu, in December at Blue Note, São Paulo with Trio Corrente. Oh, great, Sérgio. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, great. So, Billy, are you teaching at Berkeley in these times of COVID? Are you
Yes,
staying at doing
I've been teaching here remotely for a
remotely
year now. Yes, since last March.
last March? And
Yes.
that is okay? How are you feeling that remotely teaching?
Man, you're gonna get me
It,
fired, man. How can I
man,
say?
no, it's a I don't know the word, but it's a challenge for us. I'm
It's
doing
very
that.
challenging. Okay, that's
Is
very diplomatic. I was going to say something worse than that. That's very diplomatic. Yes, it's extremely challenging because musicians, we need that. We're looking for that communal atmosphere, that communal space, man.
hmm
And I miss being able to, like, when you asked me, and the person asked me, well, I said, guess someone asked me, how do you play A without getting lost?
hmm
And I miss
hmm
being able to do that. And you can't there's some questions you can answer,
hmm
but some questions I have to play drums. And I miss, because when I would be at Berkeley, I used to sit between the bass player and the drummer. I would sit next to the piano player. I would sit like right in front of my sax player or
Yeah,
trumpet player in the ensemble. If I had
yeah,
my drum lesson, we would have two drums set up next to each other. And you know how it is. You know
yeah,
how it is, Edu, where you and I can speak even through this. We have to kind of guess body language and what is he saying, and we have to read that. But if we're close, you could feel that right away. So
yeah,
I miss that instantaneous connection. I mean, and it's more challenging to be focused. That
yeah,
I mean, Zoom fatigue is real, man. It's
yeah,
very real. So I did, and I never did mind the commute. I take the train, Amtrak train, get off right in town of Berkeley, and I'm there in maybe I guess four Boston, New York blocks, if you will. And it was great. It's more difficult. Absolutely, it's more challenging. Rather, like the word you use, it's
yeah,
crazy challenging to do it here. where I would rather be there, 4 or 5 days a week than to be doing this here a couple of days. It's pretty
Yeah.
challenging. Yes. It's exhausting. It's exasperating. That's the word.
Yeah. Great, great. And how about your new project? I saw that you are in the trio with Jeffrey Keezes. I'm sorry about my pronunciation.
No, Jeffrey Keezer, Jeff Keezer, and
Yeah.
Jeff Keezer. We're not on a. Well, I wish we were on a tour. None of us are touring anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But we've been doing, as I mentioned before, we've been doing these podcasts together,
Mm-hmm.
and they're. It's kind of like. We're the rhythm section. Myself, Jeff Keezer, Ben Williams are the rhythm section for Dave Sanborn's either quartet or quintet. And prior to COVID, we had been doing occasionally at his house. He lives upstate New York. At his home, we were, I guess, we were recording various podcasts, and he calls them Sanborn sessions, which is kind of a reinvention of his. Night music that he had in the late 80s. And it has a host of who's who, among jazz musicians. And most recently, we've done a recording with Marcus Miller, which will probably come out, if not this weekend, maybe next weekend. And I've done that here. We've all done everything remotely. We've done with Christian McBride, Joey DiFrancesco,
Mm-hmm.
Corey Henry, um, we did one at his house before COVID with Michael McDonald. So it's been quite a few different projects. We were going to play the Blue Note the week it COVID had their stay-at-home orders when Como set that law.
Wow.
We were supposed to play at the Blue Note. It was going to be myself and actually
Wow.
James Genius was going to play bass because I think Ben Williams had another gig, and it was going to be
Wow.
with Randy Brecker playing trumpet. I was so
Wow.
looking forward to that. So I can't
Wow.
wait to get back on stage, man. That would be cool. But yes, with
And
those guys, we're not touring, but yes, we've been doing as a substitute these podcasts. Yes.
oh, great, great. And I saw a concert, a streaming concert that you did it to Guilherme Margot,
Oh
from
yes. Oh
Open
yes. That
Studio.
was one of my yes. We did
Man,
that
that was
upstate.
amazing. Oh,
That was one of the
beautiful.
first gigs I did with the mask. That was talk about challenging. That
Yeah,
was
with
real, but
mask.
that was fun. Jillian is a great singer, man. That was fun, man. Great
Amazing
band,
music.
man. Yes.
Oh, oh. Hey, Billy, we are running to our end, and I want to say thank you one more time to being here to talking. I hope I can see you in person and what is it?
Shake. We can shake hands.
You
Yes.
can shake
We
hands
can shake
because
hands.
I, s-
Yes.
I saw you in Portugal, I saw you in Moscow, but every time you are in the stage, I am in the audience. We have to
Oh
shake
man.
hands
Okay,
next
we
time.
have to do that. We have to do that. And thank you and Rachel and Open Studio for inviting me. It was my pleasure and an honor to be here. I really enjoyed this time with you, Edu. I really did. Thanks.
I enjoy too. And this program was sponsored by Open Studio. And I want to say thank you for everybody that takes some time to stay with us here, talking and chatting with us and listen and watching us. Okay? And Billy, if you want to say goodbye for the people, say goodbye for the people himself.
I will say goodbye for the people. You guys, thanks for joining me. Anyone that joined today, I appreciate it. And I had a really good time. And please, everyone, stay safe. Please stay safe.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
care.
it's the same. Stay safe. And man, abraço. Thank you, Rachel and Billy. Abraço grande.
Very good, Ado.
Bye
I'll see you.
bye.
All
Bye.
right.